the best sounding mix you ever do takes the least amount of work. Why is that?
Also, too, being open to collaborations too, because we had a workshop with Henry Fong, and he down one of his releases that he just came out on Dim Mac, and he was saying, he said, he actually, had, just sort of like had the bare minimum of it and then handed it off. Like he just was getting stuck and he just handed it off to another producer, and then it ends up, being this huge collab. So, I think I think the interesting takeaway too is like, you don't have to do it all yourself. So being able to reach out and be open with other producers and kind of, collab where you can, and, that's super important. Or even if you suck at mastering, don't master it. Get somebody that knows how to do it, and or you're struggling with your mix, send it off to somebody that can mix it for you. So
hey, didn't you say that you master for people?
Oh.
Plug.
Shameless plug there. Yeah, I didn't, not intentional, but
well,
you're totally
it's less
right.
shameless when I do it for you.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You're totally right, though. There is like a phase I think most producers go through where they're very precious about doing everything.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in the very like niche, nerdy, sound designy genres. It's like very much a pride thing, I feel. But you realize how many pros don't do it. And it's like, it's very good to know still. I'm not saying people shouldn't learn it, but like, if you're trying to, is your goal to mix and master all your music, or is it to like have a following as an artist and do all these things? Because if you're like working 40, 50, 60 hours a week to pay bills and the artist thing, like you gonna have to give up mixing and mastering and probably sound design too. And like, just get yourself some presets, learn how to tweak them, and like just write good, meaningful music.
Yeah, and even the pros, like the big artists, like if you look on Spotify, you can see if the metadata is there. Yeah. That's a whole other issue. I could have a whole discussion on that stuff, but if the metadata is there, you can usually see like how many mixers are people that are involved in the project. So
totally.
Yeah, so it's super important I think at a certain point, I think it's super important, like you said, to learn this stuff, because like I wouldn't be able to communicate with a mix engineer what I want if I didn't know kind of the vision, because you are the producer in a sense. I mean, you're both the artist and the producer of the project, so you kind of need to know. Be like the Clive Davis, or totally. That kind of knows kind of how records are put together. So I think that's super important, and in being able to communicate that, but knowing when to let go. And I think that just comes with time. I think probably where I got to the point where I said I could let go of my projects was 7 years into producing. Because you get to that point where it's like, it's a process, and you want to, once you get to that certain level, you're like, I don't really do this. Like I can get somebody else to do it. So.
And there's this one picture I always think of, and it's like this like cartoon, like back and forth meme thing, and the dude like sends the girl a song. He's like, I wrote you the song, baby. And she like replies, she's like, yeah, the snare sounds like ass and there's too much 1K and blah, blah, blah. And then he's like crying in the next picture or whatever. But I love that meme so much, because when you're so deep in the producer world, you like really, really care about these things. And like listeners don't talk like that. And when you take a step back and realize how fucking nerdy it is to be like worrying about this stuff, it's pretty liberating, because then you just focus on like the actual emotion and feeling, the part that actually connects everybody together.
And I think Duke Ellington said it best. There's only two kinds of music. There's either bad music or there's good music.
Man, right, good music. And I mean, speaking as people that have all released stuff on labels, tell me, Adam, if this holds true to your label, but on Producer Dojo, we are expected to learn how to mix our records before we get them released on the label. But we don't mix them by ourselves. We mix them by ourselves, and then every draft, first we turn it into Spiderhound, the head of A&R, and he gives us feedback and gets it really close to done. And then it gets passed up the ladder to Ill Gates himself, and he gives us even deeper levels of feedback, and we go through multiple rounds of feedback with him before he's satisfied. And then, even though we have mastered it every single time along the stage to give them a master level project, then we give them a mixed level project and send it to a professional mastering engineer so that the entire project is really dialed and really consistent. So even though you should learn to mix your stuff as well as you can, and you should learn to master it as well as you can, knowing when to get help and when to outsource is not only smart, it's liberating.
Yeah, absolutely. I do feel like I believe you said it earlier, Luke. It's like, do you have time or do you have money? Like, if you have time, like, go deep on how to do all this stuff yourself. But if you're short on time, then you're gonna have to pay someone to do it. I do think though that it is a bit of a catch-22, like you said. Like, you kind of have to do it yourself at least enough to know. Because the thing that I always tell people is like, the best sounding mix you ever do takes the least amount of work. Why is that? Because you started with a well thought out composition. You didn't make any problems for yourself. And if you haven't had the struggle of trying to mix down a record that has those problems in it because you didn't know what they were, you're not going to understand how to avoid those to then hand it to a mix engineer and a mastering engineer that can make your record sound amazing. Right? Like, you can take good to great in a mix and then great to amazing in a master. But if you've made a bunch of problems for yourself and the mix is bad, you're not going to get bad to amazing. You're going to have a real issue doing that. So you're right. You do need to know enough and have done it at least enough yourself to get it most of the way there.
I like it. What's up, humans? It's Luke, your friendly neighborhood trap Jesus. Thanks so much for watching the podcast, checking out our videos. We truly appreciate you. So, Rip Kenny, Tesco, and myself got you a gift. We made you a free sample pack. It's got basses, it's got FX, it's got crazy percussion and Foley sounds, and it's free. It's all yours. Just click the link in the description below. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe, hit that like button, and share this with your friends. We appreciate you. Peace out and peace among worlds.